Says 27th of December 2024. I hope you can see my background. Black Cows Matter on this sign. And I'm not too sure who this guy is here. Maybe somebody can give me an idea. Who's this fella? Now, yesterday's video, the 26th, says Stephen's Day, got 62 comments. 62 comments. And I made a note of some of them here. And it was about the woke movement in this world and the effects of it. Needless to say, I am hostile to it in the extreme. Now, one of the comments was Helen McEntee and Leo Varadkar are agents of the World Economic Forum. There's no doubt about that. They're said and led by the Davos group. And this group in Davos, the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab, have an input on the EU. They probably have a bigger influence on Irish. I'm just letting you see Donald there again. I know you all like to say hello. They probably have a bigger influence on Ireland and Irish politicians than they have on the EU itself. The EU has to operate in some degree of reality with the outside world. Irish politicians are totally insulated from it. And unless there's a change, it looks to me like our Irish voters are not going to change. And if it's the thing that Irish voters will not change, then what I can do is bring that to the attention of the world, of Ireland, of the people and everything, so they know that they're in a dirty, rotten, big, deep hole. They mightn't want to get out of it, but at least let them know they're in it. Now, another commentator made the point, and I make the point about the churches, the Christian churches in particular, because they're the ones that are in the sights of the woke crowd, not so much the Muslim churches, because Muslim churches treat women a lot worse and minorities a lot worse than Christian churches. Like homosexuals are murdered in some parts of the world in Muslim states. But you see, the object here, and this proves it, it is not to get any particular church in or out, it's to get their grip on power. Anything that breaks down the existing one is what they want. And it's a bit like me. If I have a plot and I'm going to put vegetables in it, I keep the weeds down, and I probably destroy the weeds before I set my potatoes or my cabbage and my peas. Why? Because you can't have the two. You have to have one or the other. And so they're involved in this destruction of our society. Now, that doesn't mean that the vegetables I grow on the fresh ground will be marvellous. There might be a bit of them damaged, or they might get blight. It means, though, however, you will have the ones you want. Now, John Phelan and another few others there made the point, I think it's John Phelan says it, about the Native Americans. And here I have to hold my hand up. Remember, the whole purpose of my videos is to bring you the truth. I don't know how I made this mistake. I was at the Little Big Horn and spent 3 or 4 days all around that area. It's near Harding in southern Montana. And it's either on or it's very close to the Crow Indian Native American Reservation in Montana. And I attended the Eagle Butte Cheyenne River Sioux Indian or Lakota Indian powwow on Labor Day, and I attended the same one in Rosebud Reservation and the Ogala Reservation in South Dakota. I was in all them places, and I was at the grave in Wounded Knee, and where they were all slaughtered sometime after in retaliation for the victory at the Little Big Horn. But I brought that up to highlight the point that when the natives won the Battle of the Little Big Horn, they assumed that that was it over. You won your battle and it's over. That's not how life works. You win your battle and you're only starting. And they went all back to their own villages, and Crazy Horse, the leader, one of the main leaders, a young leader, to whom there's a big statue of him in South Dakota. This is a little artifact I bought out there. This is what the statue looked like. And if a man stands here, on this arm here, His head is only up to here. So from the arm to here is the height of a man. It's unbelievably big. So if you're out there, you can go and see it. It's near the Mount Rushmore. It says here, Crazy Horse, Black Hills, South Dakota. And it names that a Polish man that built this. Any event, this is an old artifact I have here, and just to show it to you. That's it again. He's on a horse. That's what the finished article will look like. It's not near finished. In any event, I made the mistake of saying that the Crow, the Lakota, and the Arapaho were in the battle against General Custer, and that was a fatal mistake. The actual tribes, and I knew this and I have not researched this, are the Northern Cheyenne, the Lakota or the Sioux, and the Arapaho. The Arapaho live in a reservation in Wyoming. I didn't go there. It's Wind River that they are living there. I think it's Wind River reservations, Wind something anyway. The Northern Cheyenne are up in Montana somewhere there too. I went through their village and saw them walking on the road, and then the Lakota are all around South Dakota, and I was at their Labor Day, what they call meeting or powwow or whatever it is. It's very colourful. Most people don't like it. I like the regalia and all the way they go on. In any event, that's the story there. I got that wrong. That'd be fatal. Now, while I was at that gathering on Labor Day in, I think it was Spearfish. It was in Eagle Butte itself. I met a man called Cummins, and he had all the features of the Native Americans. And you know your man, Chief George in the film The Outlaw Josie Wales, he looked very like him. And I was talking to him, and he was asking me about his name, Cummins, and I could tell him straight away, that's from Dublin. Your people are from Dublin. So he knew the tradition. The father came out, don't know what he came out doing, but probably prospecting for gold, but he ended up marrying the woman who we would probably call a squaw. Not very nice name to call it, but anyway, he was the progeny of that. So he told me exactly. He says the Crows are not liked at all. The Crow tribe sided with Custer, and we never forgave them. He told me that. He told me that at the powwow. So now I'm glad to correct that, and I'm very sorry for getting that wrong. I just didn't think of it properly. I should have remembered the Northern Cheyenne. I know about it for years. Now, there's another fellow there at APG875, and he's on about President Musk. Now, when Donald Trump got elected first, they didn't expect it. And I was on social media, particularly the politics.ie site. This is an extreme male homosexual site. And it's also extreme socialist woke type stuff. And when I say I'm a farmer with cows, that's where it came from. I used to say I'm the second most intelligent man in Ireland, and that used to drive them nuts. Oh, it used to drive them nuts, and I used to have great fun with them. And I'd be outwitting them and everything, and I'd be dubs that say something today, and tomorrow they'd say something that conflict, and I'd throw this at them, and they'd go nuts. They'd go nuts. The thing about it was, you see, it broke the rule about self-praise. You see, you don't praise yourself in any society. You don't do it in Ireland. And I was I didn't know this rule at all. And then you're the second most intelligent. Who's the most intelligent? And the fun I would have with them. And this would go on for great fun. They were mostly Dublin gay community. But I was stuck. I didn't know some of the words for that they have. There's a kind of a culture and a language for gay people like that, those type of gay people. Now, they don't represent all the gay community, I can tell you that. I know that for a fact. But anyway, one of the things about it was when Trump got elected, they went nuts. Orange moron, dope, bombastic, all of this. But we all know that Trump is a bit of a playboy like myself. He winds up people and he says things and he has a sense of humour. And that's what I actually liked about him in a way. So, but anyway, he says that President Trump is getting too close to Elon Musk. And definitely Elon Musk is seen with him a lot lately, and he's saying he's his boyfriend, and so here's that fella that's writing that APG875. He's obviously a homosexual from the politics.ie website. That's no harm. I don't mind him on board as such. And he says, anyone taking any bets that the whole Trump Elon Musk thing will break asunder? Well, you see, when there's events like Notre Dame, or it wasn't yet that, and other events, well, it's only natural like members of your cabinet would be there. And Elon Musk, right or wrongly, is a very successful person. And there's always the problem of business people being mixed in politics. Now, Elizabeth Warren, she's a senior Democratic senator. She's originally from Oklahoma, but she lives in Connecticut. And in Connecticut, I must look to see did Trump get any votes there, but they're rip-roaring left wokes in Connecticut. Connecticut is a very Irish place, and the Irish are extreme woke. And you see that here at home too. They're extreme woke. I know some people who think like me and agree with me on most things and still go out and vote for your woman, Harris. And when they're at home here, they do the same. So I don't think we'll ever cure Ireland. I think Ireland will be pulled out of the rut by somebody else. That'll be what will happen. And there's money to be made betting against them. But he says he had taken any bets that the Trump Musk relationship will break up. I'd take a bet. I'd bet a few pound on it, surely, if you could formulate a bet that would be binding. Now, Elizabeth Warren, she claims to be a Native American, and she's not. She's not. Trump calls her Pocahontas. Many said underneath it's an insult to Pocahontas. Pocahontas was probably a mythical, I don't know was she real or not, Native American woman. And there was another one over in the west called Saraquiah. I was at her tomb. But anyway, she was real, all right. So Elizabeth Warren, anyway, is all about conflict of interest and regulation. And they keep regulating and regulating. And one of the things I can tell you about Ireland, that as a matter of a hobby, I test every regulator in Ireland. And the only one I ever found to actually work is the Incorporated Law Society of Ireland. And I maintain the reason is that when lawyers get insurance, the Incorporated Law Society is able to control their insurance. They have to be insured, and bad lawyers can be sued. And apparently the Law Society has a financial input into it, and if some lawyer is sued, they have to pay some of it, with the result that they will follow up things. And I have used them, and they are extremely busy, but I found that they'll try and get you sorted out some way. That was my own personal experience. And you see, the difference in me and other people, I try all these things. If there's any regulator anywhere, I will complain, and then I'll see what they'll do, and they'll cover up. And so there you have it, the media regulators, the advertising standards, all of those, the regulator for energy, all of those are all crooked. They will not respond or deal with any complaint, which is in the way I'd be thinking. So anyway, now an example of Elizabeth Warren, she proposed an 85 billion euro fund to roll out broadband in rural America. And Biden actually spent $42 billion to do it, with complete and utter failure. Maybe one or two houses got it, that was it. Complete and utter failure. Now, Musk is suggesting that he will spend something less and he'll actually achieve it. And he has the technical know-how. So, you see, you couldn't expect Donald Trump to know all about this stuff about broadband and new methods of communication and 5G and all that, any more than you can expect me to do it. Well, what we do, or what I do, we rear our children, we educate them, so some of them do know about this, and that's as good. And so Trump has Elon Musk there, who's very, very enlightened on all this IT stuff and all that, and he's going to use them, and so you'll get the job done. Well, one of the problems with politics is that when you get the job done, they don't thank you. That's a terrible problem, you know. Anyway, so she's on about further regulation on Musk, but Trump is going to overrule her, and apparently can, and let him belt away. So I don't think there'll be any problem there. There's a lot of Trump's government have a lot of people in there. You see your man home, and he's going to start deporting. He can't wait to get out. He'll blurry them up, handcuff them and horse them off to Venezuela. That's what's going to happen there. They can whinge, roar, or bawl any way they like. This is what they're going to get, and that's it. Shouldn't be there in the first place. And other wise things as well. Now, of course, the green agenda will probably be dumped out. Now, one of the things Trump has come up with, he's going to buy Greenland. He's going to buy Greenland. It's a bit of fun. It's a bit of buster. He will make the point that if Greenland wants America to defend, if Denmark wants Greenland to defend Greenland, then America's going to have to, or Denmark's going to have to come up with a compromise. You can't have America defending Denmark's Greenland and the EU pulling all the goodies out of it and America getting nothing. And Trump is now whinging about this big time. So he's going to be on their house there. He's also talking about making Canada the 51st state. All a bit of buster. I don't know, would America want them in? They're very woke. They elected Trudeau. Elected Trudeau. Now, one of the things about Elizabeth Warren, right, I've dealt with her. We let her go. Just be aware that Elizabeth Warren is a Democratic congressman and there's a war breaking out between her and the Trump administration, and we leave that there. We leave that there for now. Now, I want to go back to this airhead that ran for election, Kamala Harris. And I learned that the union over there is the Teamsters Union, big union, and I think the lad over it has an Irish name. The union always had a big say in politics, a bit like in Britain too, and so particularly on the left wing side. But the Kamala Harris demanded the Teamsters back her 100% and recommend people vote for her. And they said they'd have to meet her. And after a bit of a struggle, she came to a meeting with her aides, her people. And they had 36 questions to ask her. And she answered 3. And there was 20 minutes to go. And between her and her aides, or her people with her, when the third question was asked and answered, they called it off. That's all we're answering today. And they said, well, there's 20 minutes in the allocated time, and why can we not continue to see what your views are? And she wouldn't, because she's a dopehead anyway. But she wouldn't. But when she was leaving, she got up to go, she turned around to them and she said, I'll get elected with or without your endorsement. That'll tell you the arrogance of the left, the arrogance of her, and this woke left-wing cultural Marxist arrogance. At least with the Conservatives, they might be rich and they might be this and that, but they're wised up. They know the basics. This one knows nothing. She's a total dopehead, and she's now, she lost the election, and she lost it because they had it well watched. They weren't able to rig it. And when she said, although it's not in any of the media, when she told the union, I'll get elected with or without your endorsement, she meant we'll rig it. And I was talking to a man the other day who lives in America most of the time, and he comes home around the Christmas. We might have a drink later on in a few days. But I was talking to him, and he said that there was several places in key states where there were van loads of votes being brought in, and the Democratic Party had cameras everywhere, monitoring them, and people writing down the numbers of the vans and all. And when they saw it, or when they went to open the vans, they drove away. They were obviously packed full of votes. So they were going to rig it if they had to get away with it. And that shows you that when you make the bit of preparation, Trump wasn't ready for that the last time, but he was ready for it this time. And the party behind him was ready for it. For whether they all support Trump or not, they don't want a rigged election. So that's, I think, most of the things there in the responses to that video, and to see what will happen. It's going to be very interesting times. I know Trump will probably make mistakes. He's not as wise as me. By any standard is he as wise as me, but he might be wise enough. And when he has the like of Musk behind him and many other people, they're wise, they're alerted to the world. So it'll be very hard for anyone to come in and influence them. And it must be remembered that there are thousands and thousands of people with resources in America who want to influence Trump. They'll want to lobby and lobby and lobby him, and he'll have to allow them some bit of lobbying because some of them probably paid to his campaign, and that they'll be under big pressure. So it looks to me like he's learned a lot from his first presidency. He learned a lot. And one other little thing, I'm on 20 minutes, that I discovered. When America has troops in Syria. Conoco Oil has a big oil well in northeastern Syria or thereabouts. Now, what right they have to have an oil well there, I don't know, but they have it there and it's supported by the American army. And I heard Trump saying himself that we won't leave the oil behind in Syria, we'll stay there and keep the oil, which is not really his oil, but that's another day's work. But at some stage, when in his presidency, when he was in the first term, about 2022, he told the chiefs of staffs of the army, prepare to pull out of there, we're getting out of there, because he has a sort of a policy of not getting involved in foreign wars and all of this, and he told them to get out. And General Miley and a heap of other generals got the order, and they decided to not to obey it, to disobey him, and to lie to him. A lot of them did. And so there was a good few generals there, and they lied to him, and he now knows about this. So he's now going to tell them again what is to be done. It mightn't be to do with Syria, and he'll be dead ready for the fact that they're not going to do what he says, and he's going to fire them. Because in the American military, you have this type of thing where a senior officer retires and goes off straight into private business. Senior senators retire and go into private business. And Elizabeth Warren, when she was a senator, had some wee bit of stoppage on that, but it whittled away. They can go straight in now to private business from government, and it's more or less the same here in Ireland. Watch out for Eamon Ryan, Cabbagehead, and see they'll all be trying to influence the government from within, and no doubt Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael will bow to them big time because Irish voters are in love with the Greens. Even though they did tilt them out, they still want green policies. They didn't vote enough against the Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael to frighten them off from the Greens. There's still Greens there, a lot of Greens in Fine Gael in particular. So anyway, that's a slightly different thing, but they'll be trying to bring in strict rules that'll stop them from taking jobs in the arms companies and all of that for 5 years. So that's what's going on there. But to say that Trump is some type of a moron or an orange moron, which these guys want, he is going to, number one, get rid of these army men who are not producing. Some of them never were in uniform. He's going to try and stop them getting into companies where they can make policies. But big time, even they get into arms companies, he's going to make sure they have no say. It's very easy to deal with a lobbyist if you tell them, get the hell out of here and don't come back. And that's what's going to happen there. They're going to be told to get out, the whole boondangle of them. There's thousands of them, former this and former that, working for arms companies and working for everything. And they have a big say. They're part of this sort of deep state, which I haven't fully analysed yet. But between the one thing and the other, and this DOGE, Department of Efficiency, anyway, it's DOGE, I think they call it. I'll get it again for you. It's Department of Efficiency, and Musk is taking over that to cut out waste from the whole thing. You can see too that in the Children's Hospital in Dublin, they cannot build a children's hospital, and I have ways of doing it. I won't really say it in videos. It would be built if I were in charge of it in 2 years, no doubt about it. They can't do it. See, they're all dope heads, and the American Democrats are dope heads, and a lot of the Irish that vote for them are working people, it has to be said, but they're dope heads, and some of our own neighbours and people are dope heads as well. They have no understanding of the bigger picture out there. Meanwhile, the Chinese and the Putins are coming after them big time, and they're getting scared. So this is why Trump is trying to buy Greenland, and now he's trying to get the Panama Canal. He says he's going to take it as well because it's crucial for American commerce. And indeed, thousands of Americans lost their lives building that canal. And it looks to me like the Chinese have moved in on it. And it won't be too long till the Chinese is setting the rates and deciding who can go through and who can't. So you can see that Trump is probably not going to take that lying down. And when you can see the American government deciding not to let their interests near them, close to them, be taken over by the Russians and the Chinese, surely it's the same the other way, that the Russians and the Chinese are entitled to look after their turf as well without America interfering. And I would say that is how it will pan out. I'd say I don't think Trump will take over Greenland, but they'll ineffectively do it, that they'll have control. They'll keep the Chinese and the Russians out because the Russians are trying to take over the whole Arctic Circle. And they'll pressurise Canada to keep them out of there as well. And the woke crowd will always be trying to be soft to the enemies of America. They're already won in Europe. They have destroyed Europe, so they have won in Europe, but they haven't won in America. Have I given a basic rundown on that, folks? I hope I have. There was a lot of points raised there, and that's a long video, but it's very interesting to see the toing and froing. The real difference in this administration with Mr. Trump here, you know who he is that he's awake to what's going on. He mightn't judge it and he mightn't make the right decisions, but Joe Biden is on his holidays somewhere in Puerto Rico or somewhere, some of those, Guam or someplace, wherever, the Virgin Islands, and he's over there. He's totally asleep. I mean, they said there were several high security meetings that had to go on without him because he couldn't get up out of the bed. So that's the situation you have there. Now, that's the big difference. That's the big difference. All these crowds, like Elizabeth Warren and all these, they were trying to run the show. Now you have Trump, you have Vance, you have a whole lot of very able-bodied people there, and you have a whole lot of people like Musk and several like that, and they're wide awake to what's going on, far more awake, and that's scaring the pants of all these other crowd because their vital interest is now going to be damaged big time. But it's all to play for. The only thing I will take on that chap on the bet is I bet that Elon Musk will still be there, we'll say by the 1st of April. Elon Musk will still be in that job of the efficiency at the 1st of April, and Trump will still be president. I'll take him on a bet there. I'll give him even money there. €50 even money if he wants to take me on. So that's a broadband of the story. That's the outlook on the story. Remember about the wokes, they crave power. They have no interest in anyone. The idea that they're looking after black people or anything else, that is, they don't. They just want power, grab power, and that's all they want. We'll see you back for something else. Good luck and thank you.